Hello, everybody. We are back. It is Battle Lines. I hope you're all doing fantastically well. Let me just pull through here. That is better. How is it going? It's the first live in around about 5 days. Welcome back. Welcome all. It's been a bit of a busy period for me. I'm coming down right now. Ireland is a heavy place when it comes to many things. Meeting a lot of you guys out there was amazing. Met loads of you out in Belfast. Met you in Galway as well, which I didn't expect. And Dublin as well. So thank you to all of you for coming and saying hi and all that sort of good stuff. Coming back down now, we've got loads of bits over the weekend. It's a jam-packed football weekend. Today we've got Battle Lines, obviously, with Jimbob. We've got Brownie later on. Then we have, tomorrow, we have Leeds QPR. Then we have Burnley versus Swansea on the second channel, which link is in the description below. Burnley versus Swansea on that. And then Sunday, the big one, the Steel Derby. Sheffield Wednesday versus Sheffield United. And there is absolutely no one better that I would rather talk through this championship campaign with my good old mate, Jimbob. How are we doing, mate?
I'm good, mate. Thank you. How are you? Nice and refreshed after your little breakaway?
Yeah, not bad, mate. I know you were saying to me, just chill out, Conor, just chill out. But when you're doing all this sort of stuff, it becomes difficult, doesn't it? You're always like, what am I doing? What am I doing? Should I be doing a watch along? Should I not be doing a watch along? Should I be going out to Cathedral Quarter? Should I be doing a watch along? all these things going on in your head, you know.
I mean, I'm useless for taking my own advice, but you go full pelt at this, and I don't think anybody would begrudge you a break. But you are still on, what, you most days, probably every day. I'm not quite sure, but yeah.
It is a weird one, because you do think to yourself, well, in different settings, will people enjoy it? And mate, like the video responses, people just love it when you're in different settings. It's they
were happy you were out of country, wasn't it too? I'm not sure.
Yeah, all that. What's going on then, mate? What's going on?
I've recovered from not a disappointing result. I think Bristol City are a very good team. Have you still got to play Bristol City?
Yeah, at home.
Good team. Yeah, they more than deserved the point against us. We didn't turn up, which I were initially disappointed with. That's part of my disappointment. Obviously, the last-minute equaliser always goes against the grain. I thought we could have had some penalties that have probably been harsh on Bristol City. But just a few of those things all combined together made me very frustrated coming away from that game. Obviously, we had the chance to gain ground on both yourself and Burnley. Didn't take it. Obviously, we're just grateful that Burnley didn't beat West Brom. So it's as you were now, isn't it? It makes me all the more happy that I didn't go in on you when you did stumble, because a few lads in my group chat and lasses were saying, make sure you get on to Conor, ring him now, get him on stream, get him. No, Conor's away. He's on holiday for one, but also that before we go to the next Battle Lines, we might drop points, and look what's happened. We did. So I'm pleased. I'm grateful. So anyway, yeah. Were you on at 9 a.m. this morning with Brownie then? Is that what?
I've had a shocker, mate. That's what I'm just redoing now. This is what happens, everybody. Apologies for everyone. We have not been on at 9 a.m. me and Brownie. So shout out to you, Phil. You were bang on in the comment section. It has been rejigged to 9 p.m. Yeah, that would. I'll tell you what. That's a succession of streams in it. So
nice.
Yeah. So getting to a few comments. Yeah, Just United's in here saying, "Hey guys, hope all is well. Tricky fixture for both." And the pressure is on. 9 games remaining, 27 points. Let's see what happens. Afternoon, Conor. Morning, Conor. Hello. Yeah, make sure you're hitting the likes, everybody. Jimbob reaction to the Owl goal. Yeah, I caught a little bit of your reactions, mate. It did.
I can't remember it.
It did make me laugh. The Solomon goal immediately, where that life just drained out of you. And it was like, well, I've got to stay on here for another 90 minutes now, and they've already scored.
It was the initial goal that's just knocked all wind out of his sails.
Yeah.
But it was the Tanaka goal. You've got to take your hat off, and yeah, that was just a lovely finish. That just, to be honest, I didn't think you were great. I thought no. Millwall were pretty poor, but it's a professional. It's what we've been doing all season. To be honest, it's getting the result rather than, you don't have to be free flowing all the time, do you? I thought you looked better than you had done, but I didn't think you were great. So yeah, maybe that's you back on the winning trail, mate. We'll soon find out, won't we? QPR, tricky fixture for you this weekend.
Yeah, I don't know what it's been. It's been I mean, I was saying this on a couple of the videos that I was doing. It's been a bit of a weird period because for 5 games, I'd say, like against you, I thought you were really good for periods of that game. The start, you were, I mean, I remember turning around, obviously me and you were in the ground, but I remember turning around to the lads who I was with. And I turned around and said, we've got to get out of this half just 1-0 because it was just an onslaught for that first 30.
We were opposite. We were saying we need 2 or 3 here while we're on top because they're going to come stronger in game.
100%. But I was thinking this is bad, this. And then the Sunderland game, I thought I don't know. I thought there's not been enough credit given to Sunderland for like that first flipping like 60 minutes. I thought they were brilliant in that game. Yep. They didn't really look uncomfortable, I didn't think, until obviously we scored that first goal in the 77th. West Brom, they were good. West Brom were really impressive. I was quite shocked. I thought it'd be a tight game, but I was really shocked. And then you've sort of come into a period. Obviously, we got out of Portsmouth, lose the game. They were good. I thought they were really good. We had big chances, but they were good and they probably deserved the win. And then you kind of go into that Millwall game and you're actually looking at it, and performance-wise, you're thinking, flipping out. It's like Graham Smith said it, one of the Leeds reporters. He said, it's not right to call it a blip. Because I think a blip is more, it feels like more long-term and it feels like you're going through a bit of a stodgy period. But I do think it has been a little bit of a wobble. And I think we really, really had to win the other night. I think we had to. Because I think if we'd have drawn that, Jim, I think we'd have all started to get a little bit nervous. I can't lie.
Yeah, and I thought the longer it went on, as much as you were the better side, and again, not that you were great, but I thought you were the better side of the two throughout. As long as it's 1-0, there's always a risk of a sucker punch in there, which obviously we got the other night. Bristol City deserved it. I'm not saying, that they didn't at all, because they did. But, there's always a risk in there, particularly when you haven't been playing as well as you have been just 3-4 games ago when you were absolutely putting teams to the sword. So, yeah, it's interesting, because will you now ride that result into better performances? Because it's a lift, isn't it, for the players? You're back top of the league. You play before us. You've got another chance to open up a big gap. So,
what? I wanted to touch on Sheffield United. It feels
good.
It feels like a weird period for you, because it's like you're coming through these games, you're winning them, you're winning the games, and that's the big thing. I don't think you're playing like incredibly well. Doesn't matter. I don't think Sheffield United have done for the season, but they get the results, so it doesn't matter. Who cares? Who cares? It's got to a point now, interestingly enough, where you're kind of looking at Gus Harmer. You've obviously, with Vinny Souza, it's, you're kind of looking at him for the next 2 to 3 games. Is he going to be back? Is he going to be fully match fit in the next sort of 4 to 5, whatever it's going to be?
Yeah.
And it's kind of, you get into a period now, aren't you, where I looked at that midfield and I watched obviously the extended highlights for the Sheffield United game with Peck and Chowdhury in there. Looked very deep, didn't look that cohesive. And you kind of need Hamer in there, don't you? And you need Souza part of that. Otherwise, it doesn't feel right, does it? And I felt that was a big problem with Sheffield United the other night. It was that midfield, of which, by the way, mate, when we went to Ashton Gate, they won that midfield battle. I thought Bristol City were brilliant down there. And the extended highlights I watched the other night of your game, that midfield, they look very good.
We've hit a bit of a difficult conundrum to work out, really, because you're right, Chowdhury and Sidi Peck. Yes, Sidi Peck looked leggy. He has games where he's brilliant and other games where he looks probably a 6 or a 7 out of 10, because you're going to get those inconsistencies with young players. But he looked leggy the other night. And Chowdhury, as much as I wanted him to come in, because I think he's a great Vinny Souza replacement, he's a level down, but Vinny Souza's fantastic at this level, but he does a similar job. His positioning was all over the place. Like you said, way too deep. He were dropping alongside the centre halves, which were leaving Sidi Peck isolated. They overran us in midfield. Not only that, we've got Femi Sariki, who's just coming back from injury issues. Who he's gone to, I said the other night on Watch Along, he's gone to the Jaden Bogle School of Defending. And maybe some Leeds fans are starting to see that now. After you've had he's been part of this wobble, it's fair to say, because he hasn't been at his best over the last couple of games. So he's fantastic going forward. And Femi Sariki is in a similar mode. I think he's a better athlete, but not as good a footballer. And defensively, he's found wanting sometimes. So Femi Sariki's
he's a proper wing back, isn't he?
He's a wing back. He's a wing back / winger. A lot of our fans are saying, can we try him as a winger? Because those are his traits, really, that he offers us. He's great. His final ball's decent as well. But defending is so tucked in so far inside. Raksaki He's a luxury player for us. He's not done it consistently, and you don't expect it to another young player from Premier League. But he's not been the player that we were all battling it out for. Certainly not consistently. And he don't track back. So you've got an isolated young fullback that isn't positionally aware, drifting inside, and the outball is always the left winger. So they were hitting us on left wing, then tucking inside because Chowdhury and Peck were stepping off. They fully deserved it, and we have got some little nuances like that to sort out, because if Vinny Souza isn't fit, which he wasn't the other night, we lose a lot of control in that middle. Yes, you can play Gus Hamer in there, which Wilder adapted it to put Gus Hamer in there, who's a much higher caliber player and proven at this level, obviously. I think that's more his natural position as an 8. I like him as a 10 as well, but he's certainly not a left winger. But
it's when you got, at least when you're defensive as well, in that double pivot, you've got Callum O'Hare who can go in that 10 as well. Because you've kind of got, if you've got Hamer deeper and you've got him in that 10, you kind of fit in both the players centrally, aren't you?
Yeah, but then you need somebody who's defensively responsible, because Hamer's not going to do a lot of the work. Or if he does, then he's ill-disciplined. So he'll bring somebody down in centre circle and pick up a yellow card, and that's him walking on a tightrope for the rest of the game, because what he gives you in possession is brilliant, but out of possession he's not always the best. So, it's going to be difficult. I'm hoping Vinny Souza's fit. I don't think he will be, if I'm honest. So it's going to be a really tough game on Sunday. It's their season to ruin it for us. It will make their season.
We've seen Bannon's quotes as well.
Can you imagine? Yeah, well, Bannon.
It's still, it'll be one of those though, because I feel recently anyway, when I've watched, it's been quite rare on it recently. It's been different divisions, but when I have watched it, it always feels like Sheff Wednesday are sort of looking for that defensive solidity up against Sheff United.
Yeah,
it feels like Sheffield United go for it a little bit more. It feels like, from what Bannon was saying, it's going to
be. They're going to go for it this time, which suits us. Which suits us, to be honest, because they're not as good a team as us. And obviously, form goes out the window in derby games. This is a real fierce derby game, and no doubt about it. I actually think, and obviously you know my thoughts on Chris Wilder. I love him to bits, so I would back him anyway. But I think he's a strong advantage for us in this game, because I think he'll have us right up for it. There's going to be no complacency. I think
look at the game against us when you came out like that.
I just think he's definitely, with the Bristol City lineup as well. Hamer were on bench, Noah Nelling starting lineup, so he didn't collect a 10th yellow card. He had half an eye on this game going into Bristol City, which in hindsight was a mistake, potentially. I don't know fitness levels or anything like that, so there may be other reasons. But he's well up for this game, and there's no way that we're going to roll over on Sunday. So if they come at us, which they're saying that they're going to do, then good luck to them. But I think we'll beat them if they do that. The last 3 games, I think, have been 0-0, because they just sort of tried to park the bus and drowned us out, other than obviously us winning earlier in the season. So
was it sort of minging for you how that ended? It's not ideal, is it? Obviously 2-0. I mean, I picked Norwich to be in that top 6, but mate, they've scored the second amount of goals, but their defensive record at this level has been absolutely horrific. So they're scoring a lot of goals, but they're letting in a lot as well. To be 2-0 up against Sheffield Wednesday, and to dip out and then score 3, they obviously beat Plymouth, didn't they, as well, the game before away from home. Is it sort of the worst case scenario for you? Now, Bristol City obviously scored in the last minute. They're on a bit of a high, aren't they? And you're kind of going into that game really needing a bit of a bump.
Yeah, possibly. But it's, again, I genuinely think that form don't come into it now. I think this is like a one-off game. It's like a cup game, if you like, in many respects. But players have a different motivation for these, or they should have. And I think Wilder will approach the game like that. So we'll see, mate. We'll see. I'm confident going into the game. I have to say that. I think about it. We had a Wednesday night on yesterday.
It was it.
It was James from Wednesday Till I Die podcast.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. So he's a really good lad, and he just supports a useless team, unfortunately. But he was saying there's no way we can keep a clean sheet, and he thinks they'll beat us 2-1. So he thinks they're going to score twice past Michael Cooper. Good luck to him. We'll see.
Yeah, he's. Yeah, I mean, I guess we got to just talk about that save again. I mean, it gave me vibes of I couldn't say his name rightly, but I remember watching it right on the TV. Is it Paul Pescalasolido? Is that
again?
Paul Pescalas. Paul
a lot of us go with Pesh, but it's Paul Pesky Salido. Yes. Yeah. So that was when David Seaman clawed it. I was there actually when he clawed it back over the line. Yeah, brilliant save. How is Aaron Ramsdale in the England squad over Michael Cooper? How has that happened?
But even you can even look at you could even look at Trafford as well, couldn't you? Like
I would look. You can make, all joking aside, you can make a legitimate argument for James Trafford. Look at Burnley's defensive record for the season. He's a young up and coming goalkeeper. He's been involved in squads before. He's not a huge surprise, but Aaron Ramsdale over Michael Cooper. Are you joking? It's purely based on what division they're playing in. It must be.
He's gone as well, and he's gone just chat about England. He's gone Kyle Walker, and I'm like, look, I know you've got no, but come on. It's like if he'd have brought in Calvin Phillips, I'd have been like, come off it.
Well, you might not be loyal, but Kyle Walker,
you might not be loyal.
Deserves his place every day on the week, twice on Sunday. Yeah, right. Kyle Walker's in that squad. Jordan Henderson, what is he doing there, by the way?
And Rashford as well.
Where's Morgan Gibbs-White? And I'm no fan of Gibbs. We don't care about Gibbs White. We always sing about it, but he's had a brilliant captained him to third in league, playing out of his skin, and he's dropped for Marcus Rashford.
Why don't you like Gibbs White played for you, did he?
He did, yeah. He did. And if you followed the story along, he missed the penalty against Nottingham Forest that kept us in the division and sent them up. Or they obviously went on to win promotion. And then he signed for him the following season. So
right. I didn't know that.
So not only that, there's a big rivalry that goes back with us and Forest, and
you guys don't like each other, do you?
We don't like each other. No, we don't.
No. It's funny. There's a lot of Yorkshire clubs who've got a problem with Forest. I think it goes back to the old days, doesn't it? But Barnsley as well. I've got one of my best mates with Barnes fan. He hated Forest.
Horrible.
Yeah, so they're not a fan of him. Steve says, what do you think to Burnley? Red cards, really upset. I saw it.
Yeah, gutted.
I saw it the other day, and I was like, Egan Riley would have been perfect. He'd have been perfect.
I was buzzing with that. I were really happy that Egan Riley got sent off. And I didn't think it'd get overturned. I'm not saying I thought it were a stonewaller, but it's very hard to get those 50-50s overturned, so they've done well there.
Was it Parker as well? Did Parker get overturned?
I don't know if he's got rescinded, but I'm sure there'll be a mirror wherever he goes anyway, so it'll be all right.
Head sort of went, didn't it? I think. Battle Lines is brilliant, both quality content creators. Cheers, mate. Andrew says madness. Oh, and the keeper suddenly turned into a hologram. Brilliant, fantastic. Yeah, awful goal. I think it was Harding.
Play up, Pompey. Play up.
Remember him against us? Jesus, like Yashin.
Yeah,
unbelievable. Beat QPR the Wednesday to make it a great Sunday. Yeah, I mean it is funny, and you did right, Jim. To be honest with you, because I was saying, when we're talking about the last set of fixtures, I think we'd done the Battle. Me and you obviously talk off air anyway, but I did look at the Portsmouth game, and I was saying to you, I was like, "This is a nervy one. This is one where I'm just, midday kickoff. They're going to be right up for it for no apparent reason. I just felt we'd have a little bit of that. For no apparent reason.
Just everybody hates Leeds with biggest fixture on calendar. Everybody wants to be. It's their cup final.
It is. Yeah. Then you look at Millwall bringing a busload the other night.
Yeah,
the fans. Did you hear on the tannoy when they were like, I don't know if you've seen it, but the guy, I think he's called Lee Nicholson, who reads out like the attendances. He's like 34,000. And he just went, he said something like, and a special mention to the 391 who travelled up from Millwall. I thought that is brilliant.
Brutal. That is a brutal dig.
But so basically what I was trying to say is it kind of swings in roundabouts, doesn't it? Because I looked at the weekend and I thought, it was you against Preston, Sunderland were against Cardiff, I think, and then Burnley were up against Luton. And I did look at that and I thought, we probably had the trickier game week fixture there. And I thought the next game week, obviously, it was a little bit easier for us. And there was a couple of tough ones in there. You had Bristol City, Burnley had West Brom, and then Sunderland had Preston, which was a terrible result again for them. And then obviously, we managed to get the win. So that's the thing now. We're getting to the stage now where it's just going to swing one week, swing the other, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is. But It's great, isn't it? It's great. And I say that as somebody who dropped points this week. The Championship is absolutely brilliant. So, and that's we're top end at league, so we're going to say that. But we know what it's like as well, being in division above, getting beat most weeks. And you may have a real good go if you get there or when you get there. We might have a bit of a go now. We've got new owners, which would be great, but it's certainly not going to be anything like this season where you're battling to be the best team in the league. It's so good. Love it. Love everything about it.
I wanted to ask you something as well about your striker issue, but obviously Tyrese Campbell has been excellent, has to be said. He's been brilliant. Seems to be getting better and better. What's going on with Tom Cannon? What are we doing with Tom Cannon there with Campbell? Because it feels like he's just absolutely undroppable at the minute, doesn't it?
Cannon wasn't in the squad to face Bristol City, and Wilder said it were like an impact injury in training that kept him out.
Right.
So he wasn't fit for contention. But even when he is at the moment, he is on the bench because you're right. Tyrese Campbell, don't care how much either of them cost, because it's not about that really. It's what they can do for you on pitch, isn't it? So Tyrese Campbell is rightly our starting striker at the minute, and he is on fire, absolutely on fire. I think it's 3-3, might be 4-4 now, but he scored the only goal to be Wednesday earlier in the season. I
didn't realise how big he was, Jim. To be honest, he's a big lad. He's a big lad,
mobile as well. Mobile for his size, runs the channels really well. Arcs his run, like we were talking about this on Three Mighty Blades not so long since. Yeah, so there's loads to like about him. He's best football I think he's probably played in his career. I haven't studied his career enough, but just looking at his record, you can tell. And obviously, this sounds very braggy, and I don't mean it to come, but he's probably playing amongst the best players he's played with as well, because he's just been at Stoke and a couple of other sort of lower end teams.
Arrogant blade.
No, it's not arrogant, but when Gus Amer's feeding you, he works really well with Callum O'Hare and stuff like that. So top end Championship. I'm not saying he can't go higher than Sheffield United, but Tom Cannon's not getting a look in at minute. And it was Kiefer Moore that came on the other night, looked very rusty. But I like Kiefer Moore as a player. I think he brings something different.
Are you managing Campbell as well? Are you managing him? Because it looked like
we are a little bit. We are. So in fact, he took a bit of
that must be a slight concern that you sort of managing. He's managed Hamer. It feels like about 3 months, hasn't he? Anyway, Hamer and obviously Sousa. You kind of, because he's been in and out, hasn't he, in terms of injury, and obviously Tyrese Campbell. It's. I guess that's where your squad comes into it, isn't it?
It is, and we have got depth now, but it's still not. You know, it's a drop off. So Hamza Chowdhury comes in as a Vinny Sousa backup, if you like. Well, it's still a drop off, even if he's going in for Vinny Sousa. So, you know, Tom Cannon were out of picture the night, but I think Kiefer Moore at the moment is a level down from Tyrese Campbell. So when he comes on, you're slightly weaker. So yes, we've got a stronger squad. It's not us bringing Ryan O'Neill on to replace our top goal scorer, but it's still not quite the levels that you want. You know, when we're all firing on all cylinders. But there's also an argument which Leeds fans have expressed frustration in recently as well with Farke. You need to get your peripheral players minutes in their legs, because if you don't, they soon get rusty. And players like Ramazani, who have been brilliant earlier on in the season, soon seize up, don't they? And aren't as impactful when they come on.
Don't get minutes, mate. Don't get minutes.
They're only getting 10 minutes every week. They're not going to be able to have an impact. You'd think it keeps them fresh, and there's an argument for that, but
no way.
It's not. You lose match sharpness to a degree, don't you? Nonto as well, fallen down pecking order, but a very good player, like we all know. He's just not been on it. Necessarily.
It's why, and it's good to get your perspective from this, because this is a massive conversation in the Leeds fan base. It's like you hear a lot of it where it's like, just Ramazani, like post-injury, hasn't been good enough. But it's like, you've played the game, I've played the game. It's like when you have, there's a stat the other day where it's like he's had 125 minutes in 12 games. He's had 740 minutes throughout the entire season. Compare that to Solomon, who's obviously been brilliant this season for us, but I think he's got around about 1,800 minutes in comparison to Ramazani's like not even 800 minutes. You cannot get into any sort of rich vein of form whatsoever coming off the bench. I've come off the bench before. You 10 minutes, 12 minutes, 13 minutes. If you're doing that consistently, how on earth can you develop any sort of rhythm? And this is why we're all calling now for, obviously we're top of the league, which is great, but there has to be rotation. There's 27 points to play for, 9 games left. I think there was points of which last night, I think Rothwell looked a bit, I don't know, towards the back end of it, at least, he looked a little bit like he was begging for a change. Obviously there was chat afterwards about him having a bit of a stiff leg, and then obviously, you've got the conversation about James and him looking really, really fatigued the other night. Me and you have spoken about, you've got to rotate, haven't you? But those players come in, they're not just going to be like class off the bat. They need minutes, and that's why you've got to expose them to minutes during the season and more minutes during the season.
I mean, Wilder takes some stick off our fan base for this because he put Hamer on the bench to face you, obviously, and things like that, where he's managing minutes and trying to get the maximum amount of players. And we don't know what's going on behind the scenes in terms of fitness levels and reports and medicals and stuff like that. But it seems to me like Farke is trying to play his best 11 all the time consistently. I don't know how Gruev gets in there, to be honest, when Rothwell's around, but
no idea.
Consistently it's been the same 11 and back to back, with maybe one change, two at an absolute push. But he never sort of, when you play a Luton at home or a Plymouth at home, Nonto's not a huge downgrade on Dan James. Let's be right. I know Dan James has been playing brilliant, but
some would say he's not a downgrade at all.
Yeah, exactly. But on current form, Dan James has been, up until the last couple of games maybe, has been your main man over the last 5 or 6 at least. So surely it's smart to give him a breather, and you'll have all that data. So rather than play Dan James 3 games in a week, who is Mr. Energy, who gets his impact is the fact that he can get up and down all game, never stops working. Why aren't you giving him the middle game off when you've got just as good quality to bring in as a replacement, particularly when it's the hardest working position, the wings? It's certainly in your system. I don't get it. I don't get why he isn't utilising the quality. Because it's one thing having a quality squad, and we've said from the beginning of season, you didn't even strengthen in January because your squad's that strong. It's all right having a really strong squad in terms of depth, but if you're not using it, what's the point? You might as well just have a really good 11.
Well, that Phil said as well, we've got the most goals from subs this season. Yeah, but Phil, if you're starting certain personnel earlier, that means that you might get a little bit more from the players that you're actually bringing in earlier. You might get more impact earlier.
Absolutely.
Leeds taking the game away from the opposition earlier. So I understand what you're saying. We have a massive quality off the bench, 100%. But I just think with 9 games remaining, it was a bit of, you watched the game as well. It was a little bit of few warning signs for me.
But it's not just that, Conor. It's if Dan James has an off game, he should not be expecting to start that next game because of what's behind him. So if he has an off game, he needs to be thinking, I need to be on it. I need to be a 9 out of 10 at least every week. Otherwise, Nonto's taking my place. Well, he hasn't been doing.
No.
So when he drops his performance levels against Portsmouth, why is he straight back inside against Millwall? I'm not saying he should have come out of this, but that's just one example, really, of, you've got this quality. Your players should be playing to their absolute. An example for Sheffield United, which I don't like using, but a lot of Sheffield United fans will point to Jack Robinson staying in the side when we brought Rob Holding in. Everybody, a lot of people, including me, are screaming for Rob Holding to come in, particularly after he did really well against Bristol City.
It's another level, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, absolutely, mate. But the argument to it is Jack Robinson has upped his levels because he's got Rob Holding behind him, pushing for his spot. And that's what a squad should be doing. That you should be pushing everybody in the starting lineup. If you've got Nonto gets into any side in this league, apart from yours. So how is Dan James not fearful of his place? He needs to be playing out of his skin every week. But and Dan James is probably a poor example because he's been very good for you over the past 8 to 10 games. But it's the same with Gruev. When Rothwell's coming on and having an absolute game-changing impact, why ain't Rothwell then starting the next game?
And what did you make of him, Jim? I mean, I just, for a lone play, mate, we'd done a shoot not long ago with Green King, and I mentioned how good is he, mate? Like, he just, as a midfielder, I love watching him. Championship wise, anyway. I know you've said you've made a point of, if you go up to the Premier League, you should definitely look at him, but he slaloms through that midfield, and he's just such a classy act.
I think you will sign him. Whatever league you'll be in Premier League, I think, but I think you'll sign him, and I think you should sign him because he's been really, really good for you, really good. And I don't see how that it's a bit of a no-brainer signing. Really, he's in your best 11. I think most Leeds fans will probably. I know there's an argument, and it's good to have a healthy argument about it. if Ethan Ampadu's fit, then maybe you have a conversation about it, because
it is a conversation.
I know a lot of you love Ethan Ampadu. Yeah. I don't really see it, to be honest, in Ampadu, but Tanaka's your main centre midfielder, who I thought again himself was poor against Portsmouth. Good to see that he's human. But then then Rothwell, I think, is the one that partners him. If I'm a Leeds fan, that's what I want, them two in the middle. And Gruev, if you're trying to see a game out or you want to solidify things a little bit, you might bring him on for a little bit of solidity, but bring him off for the 10. If you're 2-3-0 up, then give the lads a breather a little bit, maybe a bit of game management. You don't have to be 5-0 every week, do you? It's great for fans, don't get me wrong, but we're talking about preserving players' fitness and getting minutes in other players' legs. So
yeah. No, I agree, mate. I agree. FV says, beat QPR, then Wednesday to make it a great Sunday. George says, afternoon, Conor. Don't think the scoreline reflected our dominance, especially in the second half. Thought we could have 4 or 5. Nice to see some bounce back a bit. Yeah, George, I thought it was very, very controlled. I didn't. I mean, we weren't at our dazzling best, but I don't think any of us will be. I don't think Sheffield United or Leeds or Burnley will be at our... I mean, you look at very recently, I think Sheffield United's best performance for 90 minutes was against Borough. I thought you were excellent against Borough. I think Burnley would maybe, and I know against Sheffield Wednesday it wasn't ideal, but I felt like that was a bit of a coming of age in terms of them actually putting a few past. They were ruthless. So I'd look at that Sheffield Wednesday game as probably one of their better performances this season in terms of just being, execution artists. I think us against Cardiff, that 7-0 was the best we've been this season. Yeah. But overall, I don't think with 9 games to go, any of us are going to be at our best. It's going to be an absolute grind and a slog to get through it.
I completely agree, mate. And I tell you what, as well, something I said to you a couple of weeks ago, it were one of those, we were asked to do outlandish shouts or unrealistic shouts. And I said, I think all the top 3 will lose at least 2 games in the run-in in the last 10 or 11 games, whatever there were to go then. And Leeds have already lost one of those. You can see it happening. You can see as all, we're certainly going to drop points, all 3 of us, but you can see random losses happening. Nobody, look, I know you were uncomfortable about the Portsmouth game, and you did say that to me before it. You were like, this is going to be really tricky. I'm sure not many people expected Portsmouth to turn you over. You might have expected a tough result where you end up disappointed getting a point, but to have them turn you over, it's that time of the season, mate. It's that time where anybody can beat anybody. So a lot of our fans were like, we need to rest so-and-so and so for the derby. Don't look past Bristol City. Don't look past them, because they're a really good team. They're 7th in league. They're pushing for playoffs.
Everything's a cup final, isn't it now? Every game's a cup final.
They did the right job on us, mate. And they were really full value for their point. They could argue that they could have got more, to be honest. So you cannot look past anyone at this stage.
So with this then, with obviously the fixtures coming up, you just mentioned you reckon there'll be a couple of losses in. If you are referring to you as well, where do you think you might struggle in this run-in?
I think we might lose to Burnley.
Right.
Might.
Okay. Yeah.
And I can see us. I don't want to say we'll lose in Derby. I'm not saying it'll definitely happen. It was an outlandish claim, to be fair. But Coventry are a really tricky game. I don't like the look of that. I obviously don't like the look of the Derby.
Depends on injuries, doesn't it, as well? Massively depends on your injuries.
It does. But I think if we can get through the next 2 games without losing, then I genuinely think we'll go up, because I think we could be done before the Burnley game then. Because I think Burnley are going to stumble as well. So we'll see, mate. We'll see. What have you got? Oh, what have Burnley got? Let's have a look then.
Swansea, Bristol City at home, Coventry away, Derby away, Norwich at home, Watford away, you at home, QPR away. But they've got the hardest run by a mile.
They have, but QPR will have note to play for by then. Millwall will have note to play for. Watford will have note to play for. Norwich will probably be out of it as well.
They'll beat Derby. I think they'll beat Derby.
Yeah, but Derby have just... Who did Derby beat? Coventry this weekend.
Lampard Derby, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, true. Coventry could beat them.
Obviously, they're annoying. They're annoying, though, aren't they? But you do look at the last... I don't know. You look at the last maybe one... We'll go from Hull. But Hull, I'd expect them to win. Preston... I'd probably expect them to win that, but I think you said it'd be a draw.
It's a derby game, isn't it?
Yeah, Wednesday I thought they'd win that one. You've always got them on against Cardiff as well. Luton are just an embarrassment. And West Brom, to be fair, I did think they might struggle there. I thought it was going to be a tight one. So you kind of look at them, and they've all been really. I think they've been decent games for Burnley. You kind of look at these, and there is a step up. There's definitely a step up in these
Bristol
last
City. Bristol City is a really tricky game for them as well. I can obviously speak from experience, but they're obviously. I'm glad they're playing them as soon as they are, because Bristol City are playing well at the minute. I think Swansea have been playing pretty well as well. Actually,
they have. Yeah, they have. And then obviously us. You've got QPR. I think that's probably our. Them and Borough may be our toughest game, but you've
got nicely from in, haven't you?
I don't know, really. I mean, if with you going on about Bristol City, that's kind of putting the nerves up me, to be honest. But
well, you said that, mate. They are a really good team, but will they still be in it? There's 2 games to go there when you play them, so they've got to still be in it. Look, if they are within 2 or 3 points at playoffs, it's going to be a really tough game for you. But I think you're going to have it, mate.
I think it's. I don't know. I mean, let's touch on the game this weekend. Then, obviously, you've got the Steel City derby, probably the biggest game of the weekend. Take us through the first game. Take us through the first game you had with them. I can't profess to have watched that. What sort of game was it? You both at sort of different levels at that stage, anyway. I felt, but obviously it's become even more sort of paramount now. But what was the? Did you notice anything from Sheffield Wednesday as a United fan? I personally thought it'd be. I thought you beat them by more, but it did turn into another classic Arsenal, George Graham, Sheffield United 1-0 win.
Yeah, it did. To be fair, they came and they played well. I thought we were the better side and deserved to win. It were a moment of quality that broke the deadlock, but we've got that in our side, which again could be the difference this weekend. But I thought they played well. The thing they've got Danny Roll. I never know how to say his name, so we'll just call him Sausage. So they've got Sausage Roll, who is a really good manager. And I think 90% of Blades would acknowledge that. He's getting the absolute maximum out of a poor squad. And
it's a terrible squad.
It's not good, is it? But like Max Lowe came back to Bramall Lane and played really well. And we released him. He was our 3rd choice left back, couldn't get inside, and we released him in summer. So they shouldn't be getting close to us. They've got Marvin Johnson in the side, who were playing for us in League One and couldn't hit a barn door then. So, they've got Michael Ihekwe and Max Lowe playing centre-back. And I think that's a League One pairing for me. But there's this X-factor level of Derby Day. The fans will want to knock us off course more than anything, because they're not going to make the playoffs. They're still in, technically, mathematically, they're still in with a shout because of the 2 recent good results. And that, I think, works for us because they don't have to beat us in terms of, it don't ruin their season if you look at it as a bigger picture. If they were already out of the playoff picture, this would be their game. This would be their season-defining game. But we have got the chance here to beat them twice in a season and get promoted. There's nothing worse to see your rivals do that. So imagine if Huddersfield did that to you, beat you twice, and then went up, got promoted, and you're in mid-table obscurity.
Oh. Them all the dazzling Bradford.
Bradford, absolutely right. Coming back strong.
But I don't know. It's a tricky one. It is a tricky one. I do think you've got maybe a little bit. It just stinks of another 1-0 for me anyway. I have a bit of a soft spot for Jimbob Ballerina. Both teams are going up. I'm trying to be positive, mate. I think it's what we said last time, Jim. But like, shout out to Amanda. But I think it was when we're just putting like Jimbob Arino, Jimbob Aldo. I think
Jimbob Ballerina.
Why not? You're not elegant. You a bit of a Joe Rothwell.
Yeah, unbelievable.
The legends are back. Looking forward to this one. Shout out to you, Matt. Loftus has said, up, love battle lines. Think it's ours to lose. Michael says, are we going to see battle lines in the Prem next year? Love it. Yeah,
we hope so. We hope so.
Yeah, it'd be crap if we didn't, to be honest. But how are you feeling about that other team? Because the other team, I guess in a strange sort of way, none of us are disregarding them whatsoever.
No.
I mean, we're quite lucky now because with goal difference as well, that's Leeds 5 points ahead of them, really. I mean, you lads, it's 2 points in it, and I know look, it can swing again, can't it? But I guess for you, Jim, when you kind of look at, I mean, worst case scenario for Leeds this weekend, we lose. And Burnley, let's say Burnley win. It's not too bad. We're not going to go out of the top 2. We go again, Swansea at home. I think we'll pick up all 3 points in that one in our next fixture. But then it could all turn around again. But with you, it's maybe is yours the most pressurized game this weekend? Maybe.
Possibly, yeah, possibly. It all depends on what you guys do, and you're going to go before us, so we'll know what we need to do. I think you win. I think Burnley probably win as well. But if Burnley do win, their goal difference is significantly better than ours as well. So they will go a point above us.
Yeah.
But their goal difference is better, which means if we want to get back in the top 2 over the international break, we have to win. So if we draw, which you might not think is a bad result at Hillsborough, and if you talk, Wilder always talks about the accumulation of points, and I get that, but being third going into last international break isn't great psychologically, I don't think. So if Burnley win, we have to win. Is the way I'm
it's that goal difference, in it. You got a poor goal difference.
A goal difference, mate. Yeah, wouldn't have been if Harry Suter had still been around. But thanks, Jack Robinson. So
yeah, you've not. Yeah, I guess you scored more goals than him as well than them, haven't you? So I mean, yeah, it's just.
I should think so. They've only just started scoring the last couple of games.
I know.
0-0.
2 4-0s, haven't they? 2 4-0s in the space of about 5 games. I think the one that we've mentioned as well several times, it's a little lad on the wing, isn't it? I think he's changed him. I think when I've watched Burnley, I think they look a little bit more expansive. They look a little bit more fluid. They look a little bit more shackles off. And I think
he's a good player.
He gets the ball, he's just direct, isn't he? And I think what Parker said to them is he's just said, get in the box, get 4 or 5 you in the box every single time he's got the ball. I've noticed with Burnley, when I've watched them 2 or 3 times when he's been playing, they just flood the box a hell of a lot more. They look a little bit less reserved. And he's made, because the thing is, if you're a coach, 9 times out of 10, he's going to take a man on. And he's either going to shoot or he's going to deliver the ball into the box. But he's going to take that man on because he's so good at 1v1 battles. So he's going to get the ball into the box no matter what, whether or not it's a ricochet and you might, put the ball in the back of the net like Brownhill did against Cardiff. It's going to happen. So just flood the box. I feel like that's what they're doing now.
No, he's leveled them up really because he's been the spark that's sort of given him the confidence that they can score goals again. So like Jadon Anthony's upped his level since he's come in. Again, it's a little bit like that competition within the squad as well. In terms of, look, if I'm going to stay in this side, I need to play well because we've got, Koleosho and other players that are on the cusp that will want to break into the 11. And Marcus Edwards is here now, running it show. I think he turned the tide against Sheffield Wednesday. Wednesday were controlling the game, and he dances around there. Marvin Johnson, Max Lowe dances around him. Puts it into net quite easily, and that sets them off. Then they're 1-0 up, and they start cruising from there. So he has been the instigator of the goals that have started coming. The only saving grace is they've started to leak a little bit at the back. So there's pros and cons in there that you can look into. It's certainly not when you're at this level in the Championship. I don't think anybody's a one-man team. But like Josh Brownhill's been carrying them most of the season, hasn't he?
My God, yeah, what a performance from him.
He's class, and moving him up into 10 has just unleashed him into a new player, really. So, yeah, I think hopefully one of us can nick him, maybe if Burnley don't do it. But we've got to get rid of him first, mate, and they're not going away, are they?
No, they're not. I mean, yeah, Raksaki maybe going back to Palace, and you getting maybe if you did go up, maybe someone like a Michael Edwards. Does feel like a level up, doesn't it?
Yeah, I don't know who Michael Edwards is, but yeah. I
did that the other day. I did that with Michael Cooper. See, I put
so you've got Cooper on brain, haven't you?
No, what did I call him? What did I call him? I called him Jake Cooper, the Millwall centre-back.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, Jake, what a save from Jake Cooper.
He scored overnight and all, didn't he?
He did. Good chat, lads. You're looking forward to wearing the Leeds shirt, Jim, says Kyle. So what are your thoughts on that, by the way? Have you sort of reiterated, have you sort of like adding it? It's only 2 points. Well, to be fair, I was going to say it's only a win, but it's not because of our goal difference in it. But
we're level on points, so I don't know what
accrued points. I forgot about that. but is it honestly, how are you feeling? Because I know you don't want to upset the majority, but what are your honest thoughts on? Do you think you'll pip it? What do you reckon?
Do I think we'll win league?
Yeah.
No, I don't.
Really?
No, I don't. I've said that all along, to be fair.
No, I know, but we've not spoke about it for maybe like at least a week, so I didn't know whether or not you've.
No, I think Leeds win the league, and I said that after Portsmouth beat you. I think I still said that. So I still think you've been the best team this season. I'm not coming on. I don't need to come on and say all this, but it's one of them that I'm always trying to be honest with my opinion. and I think you've been the best side this season. I don't think we've fully still found our best team. I think we were close to getting there, but we've not found it yet. So, yeah, hopefully we can click into gear in last few games of the season. But we shall see, mate. We shall see.
Matt says both Burnley and Sheffield United heads gone while Farker stays calm and takes us up as champions.
Head's gone because we drew.
Oh, mate, the amount I was getting battered when we drew against West Brom. My God, absolutely battered. I was getting so many texts. That's that. Leeds are falling apart again. Jimbob just naming Chef U players and former Chef U players for England.
You're right.
Yeah, Michael Cooper.
Harry Maguire.
Jimbob, I know you're a Blade, but do you think Wednesday could make the playoffs?
No.
I would love to see Leeds and 2 Chef clubs going up. Easy 12 points for Leeds next season.
It'd be 6 points for you, mate. If your maths are right, it'd be an easy 6 points if Wednesday went up with us. But no, don't think they can. Don't want them to. Can't wait to laugh when Danny Rowe leaves them at end of season and they get somebody like Josh Lahukai back in, or somebody like who manager that Leeds got, Dave Hockaday. He could go there, couldn't he? He could maybe have a little spell at Chef Wednesday. That'd be good.
What's
Cisco?
Cisco, yeah, he was
song, a bit of Cisco. Yeah, love that.
Cisco winner. He lost about 13 games in 14, didn't he?
Loved it. Loved it, mate.
The thing is for them, motivation-wise, not only is it obviously the Steel City derby, but they're on. I just had a look at the table now. They're on 51. Coventry in 6th. They're on 56. So 5 points.
Yeah.
They kind of have to win now, don't they? They sort of have to win this game. So not only is it, them obviously punching Sheffield United back in the mouth, but it's about them, getting obviously a little bit closer to the playoffs. But with you guys as well, I think if you beat them, and it is a massive, massive off chance that they get anywhere near it, but it's 5 points. If you beat them with the amount of teams that are above them, they've got 4-5 teams above them now.
Yeah, there'll be 8 games left.
I think you kill them.
They're running out, aren't they?
If you beat them, that's it for me. I think if they beat you, they'll see it as still on because the points aren't that. It's not that many.
No, true, but look, it's mathematically still possible for them. Even though I think it'll be very, very difficult because you can likely say it's going to be 8 points if we beat them, but it doesn't kill the season completely. Whereas if they had not won those last 2 games and they were already 11 points away and drift completely in mid-table obscurity, then this is the game for them to focus everything on. Yeah. So I'm all right with them still being, even if it's just outside contention, I'm all right with it. So a point for them is not terrible.
I don't know what it is with that. Obviously, when you went and beat them 4-2 at Hillsborough, it does very much feel like it's going to be that sort of atmosphere. It feels like obviously they're going to be right up for it, aren't they, with their 2 away wins.
And it's all the way around now. We came up from League One then, and we were the underdogs in that game, and they kind of expected to beat us, I think, that day, and we're off the boil, and we capitalised, and there's a danger that could repeat, but the reverse way around. So I'm sure
favourites, aren't they?
They're favourites to win it. Can you believe that?
How's that?
No idea, mate.
No idea.
That?
I saw it the other day on 3 bookies sites. It's Paddy Power, Sky.
I couldn't believe it. Well, don't put your money on it. It's a derby, but it's ludicrous. But they have got the second, and form goes out the window. I get that. They have got the second worst home record in the league. We've got the best away record in the league. How are they favourites for this game? I don't understand it. Understand it.
I think if they get a point, it's a really good result. It's a really good result for them. I think it's, I think the difference between the sides is just stark. Like you mentioned, even with Max Lowe, it's big. I mean, Jimmy, what are your thoughts on Barry Bannon's comments? He stokes the fire. I guess he's like the rebuttal though to Wilder, isn't he? Because Wilder was obviously doing what Wilder does, and he was having a fefew beers and called him sausage roll. But then obviously there's been a bit of spark, hasn't there, with Barry Bannon and the Sheffield United fans for years.
There has.
I've always seen it online. Sometimes it goes a bit too far, but it feels like he's come out, hasn't he? And he, from what you understand, he absolutely hates Sheffield United.
He does. He's now a staunch Wednesday fan. He's their captain. Yeah. I'd be happy if a team was still playing me at 53-year-old in Middle Park every week, paying me 40 grand a week or whatever it is they're overpaying him. He's playing all right for this level. They are desperate to keep hold of 35, 36-year-old.
Yeah.
His missus's comments were absolutely abhorrent, ridiculous.
What was it she said? What was it she said?
She was laughing at Ollie Arblaster getting his leg broke, doing his ACL. So
and it was Marvin Johnson's missus as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, yeah, classy. But that don't reflect the fan base. To be fair, it's just some ill-advised words to put on social media, which is ridiculous. Ollie Arblaster, he had one over on Barry Bannon. There's a picture of him up in face of Barry Bannon from the last derby game. That was the last game he played for us, Ollie Arblaster at the moment. So, yeah, he had Bannon in his back pocket, so no wonder they don't like him. He's not playing again this season by the looks of it, so we'll see what happens there. But
is that what did Arblaster? Was it a tackle?
No, he'd been dunked game before, I think, and I'm pretty sure he had an injection to play because he wanted to play in derby game. So, that's the rumor anyway. So maybe it got done in derby game. I'm not entirely sure, but
well, I'll tell you what. If they do beat you, don't worry. I won't be ringing. I'll let you off. I'll have a weekend off. There won't be any clips made. There won't be any phone calls.
I know be online for a week. So
I was gonna say Sheffield derby. I know I lived in Sheffield for 5 years. I know how big it is up there. So I'll stay in Mallet. Leeds don't have that. Obviously, we don't have our intercity derby. It's funny actually. Me and my dad have had this chat a few times. Would you like an intercity derby? And I've said to him, Dad, it doesn't. If we had an intercity derby, we would support the shit team.
Yeah, we would be arrogant town fans, wouldn't you? Let's be right.
If it was like Leeds City versus Leeds United, we would 100% support the worst team and we get slaps. I know, like, just who I'd support. I know that'd happen, but it's a weird one. Maybe something for the chat. Would you like an intercity derby? I've always thought it could be quite a good one. But yeah, looking forward to still. Well, I'll tell you what, mate. Let's get on to a couple of predictions anyway. So we'll go on to. Just a quick word on Sunderland as well. They're done, aren't they? I think.
Yeah, I think so. And look, still a very strong team in this league. I'm glad we don't have to play them again. I think if there were probably another 5 games added onto the season, you wouldn't write them off yet. But I just think games are running out now, and the last couple of results for them have been disappointing, aren't they? So, unfortunately for them, I think they're out of it. I'd love Burnley to do the same, and please do one so that we can enjoy a fight for the title in peace. That'd be great. Thanks.
Yeah. Tony Sanderson says William Hill's score prediction is 3-2 to Wednesday.
Ludicrous. 2 goals past Michael Cooper. I know Leeds did it, but come on.
Yeah, but I don't think. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. To be fair, they've scored a fair few. 3 against Plymouth, haven't they? 3 against Norwich. So who knows? They've got to play Gassama or whatever he's called. He's on fire at the minute. But
he is,
yeah. Make sure you're slapping the likes on the video as well, everybody. Right. So we'll start with the first game of the weekend as well. QPR Leeds. I am going to go with. It's going to be a tough one, but I think Leeds will bounce back. I'm hoping he brings a bit of rotation. I've got a feeling he's going to start Gruev, which is going to boil my piss. But not because I don't rate Gruev, but I just think we're just way more complete with Rothwell being in there. But hopefully he's a bit more proactive and maybe there's a change early on. I think Gruev struggled recently against good midfields. So I'm going to go. I think we'll concede, but I'm going to go with a tight 2-1 win.
2-0 Leeds. QPR are off the boil slightly. I know it's a difficult place to go, but I think you'll have enough and you'll take the opportunity to extend your lead, unfortunately.
Yep. Phil's gone Leeds 4, QPR 1, ever the optimist. Leeds 3, QPR 1. I don't know if you guys think we're playing at home, but we're not. I'm just looking at your score. We've got Leeds 3, QPR 1 here, and Leeds 4, QPR 1. 2-1 Leeds. That's it, Michael. Just my OCD, mate. I like it when the scores are right way around.
Yeah.
That'd be a right result. That'd be a
Could
right
happen.
result.
Could happen.
You beat them, didn't you, with a very off-colour Sheffield United side. You had loads of injuries, didn't you, that game?
We did.
QPR 0.
I enjoyed watching you after that game, mate.
Why? What was happening in that game? At Leeds lost.
You were just not happy that we'd done it again, basically. So
I've not been happy with you for a while, Jim. That's not you as a
mate.
person, but it is. I do get very annoyed with Sheffield United. It's always just like, even when you're not playing well, you just always. I'll just look at live score. I did this the other day. I kept my eyes like I was like, oh, I'll do like a little bit of a slow release, and I went up the table and I went like that. Don't show me the score. And I went, come on. looked at it, 1-0. 1-0 again. Fuck's sake. 0-0 says, I can't see that, Ian, to be honest with you. Like, there's always goals. There's always, all I'm saying, Ian, is you might think it's a draw, but there's always goals with Leeds, whatever way it is. James says, derby games and playoff chasing teams will add to the pressure. Leeds need to stay calm and focus on ourselves, wouldn't it, Cube? That's it. I mean, that's the thing, innit, Jim? It's like you do find yourself looking at other teams, but you have just got to focus on yourself. And that's what the message from the managers will be.
It's true, but it does directly affect you. So Wilder, he's been impressed this week saying, didn't watch the Leeds game, I were out. I don't believe you. I don't believe you.
I don't believe him at all.
No, you weren't out. You were sat glued to telly and cheering when Portsmouth scored like the rest of us were, because it directly affects us. So it's not I understand it's about what our team does first and foremost. Of course it is. If we don't do our bit, it don't matter what anybody else does. But if we do our bit, then we need to know what other teams are doing around us. So, yeah, of course you're watching other teams. Of course you are.
No point in you doing his press conferences, because you just kind of like, he'll tell you one thing and you just don't believe half of it.
I don't believe him. Yeah, so after this, I'm going live. There's Wilder's press conference at 1:15. I'll be on straight after, probably at 1:45, and you'll see me live. He said this, and I don't believe him. And he said so-and-so's fit to play at weekend, and I don't believe him. That's what I've been saying the last few times, because I think he just spins the press a lot, and I understand it. It's smart from the manager. Don't reveal your hand. I get it. But it's just like, what are we doing with these presses? What are we doing? Anyway.
Yeah. Interestingly as well, apparently Cifuentes has said he's very concerned about Elias Share. He felt his hamstring immediately and we'll have to do some sort of test. But usually in these kind of situations, it's going to take some time for recovery. But we'll do some scans and see what it is, which would be massive for Leeds.
He's been playing well as well.
Of him. I just get sick of him. I just thought there's always when he plays against us, he always just turns into like prime Adel Taarabt. So right, okay, we'll move on to the second game of the campaign, which is Swansea Burnley. I'd love to say Swansea in 16th, obviously a bit of inconsistent form, but they've been doing okay recently. I'd love to say 1-1. I'd love to say 2-0 Swansea. I think Burnley are going to be too strong for me. 0-2.
1-1. Up the Swans. Up the Swans.
No logic, just up the Swans.
No, up the Swans. Like geese.
So I love it. Yeah, Ian just says whatever you say. I think 1-1.
The gatekeeper.
Jack's the gatekeeper. Yeah, exactly. 2-1. 1-1. 1-0. To be fair, Leeds fans. Maybe I'm just being too optimistic. Who knows?
You're just a negative man.
Too negative. Yeah, not optimistic at all. Right. On the big one, which we'll be doing a watch along for, Jimbob Rooney.
So will I, by the way.
Oh yeah. Oh, here we go. Yeah, okay. Wednesday, Blades. I can imagine what I literally think every single time we've done this. By the way, I was having a look the other day. You've never not predicted a Sheffield United win. So if you did it in this time, I'd be very surprised.
2-1 Blades.
2-1 Blades. Who's going to score? How's it going to go? Tell me how it's going to go. Talk to me about how it's going to go.
We're going to go 2-0 up, and they're going to make it squeaky bum time for the last 10 minutes. That's how it's going to go.
Wendy's 3.
Flipping Campbell.
Blades 0. Chef U 2. Chef Wednesday 2. 1-1. 90th minute. Oh, 90th minute. 2-2's coming in. Screw it. I'm going to go with a 1-1.
Oh, I thought you might.
Yeah, 1-1.
It's different to what you said online this morning, but you know.
Yeah, I've changed my mind. I'll admit it.
Go to the masses, that's fine.
I'll admit it. Yeah, I played to the gallery, mate. You know that.
Flaky. That's right.
Flaky. Yeah, flip floppy. Right. Okay. So we'll leave it there. So by the end of the weekend, it looks from my standpoint that Leeds will be on 82 points. So Leeds will be on both of our standpoint. Leeds are going to be on 82.
Yeah.
But when it comes to Swansea and Burnley, that would mean on yours, Burnley are on 76, and via mine they're on 79. No, 78. Sorry, 78. On yours, when it comes to the Blades, you will be on 80 points.
Yeah.
And then on mine, you will be on 78, which would mean Leeds.
I know what it means.
And by goal difference, Sheffield United, for the first time in a long while, will end the game week outside the top 2.
Are we done?
We're done. For a minute. Right, guys, we'll leave it there. Make sure you slap a like on the video. Check out Football Prizes. My goodness, what an offer they've got for you. Link in the description below. 39p. So many prizes you can get involved with. Smash that link in the description below. The lads have got a really good offer.
What a deal. What a deal that is.
You should see it, mate. You should see it. Guys, make sure you click on the link below. Also, for all of the stuff this weekend, we're going to be doing Watch On, second channel, link in the description below. Click on that, subscribe to that. Also, we've got predictions on there. Also, check out Jimbob channel, Blades Ramble. I'm sure you're all over there anyway. As always, some cracking content, the best in the Sheffield United game. Also, alongside that, what else have I got to tell you? Me and Brownie will be back this evening going through all the weekend's conundrum. It's been an absolute pleasure. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. We'll see you in a bit.